Today, I'll examine ethics in the global marketplace, where business decisions often cross cultures, borders, and industries. Conducting business with integrity is not simply a matter of following rules. It requires understanding how values, expectations, and responsibilities can differ across environments while still maintaining consistent professional standards. Ethical judgment is a core competency for every modern business professional. Throughout this lecture, I'll connect ethical principles to real-world business environments and concepts, and consider how integrity supports responsible, effective decision-making on a global scale. As business crosses borders, ethical decision-making becomes more complex, because expectations, regulations, and cultural norms can differ from one market to another. That makes ethics more than a compliance issue. It becomes a business advantage. Trust is the foundation of lasting global relationships, while strong ethical practices help companies attract talented people and build credible reputations. The alternative is costly. Ethical lapses can result in fines, sanctions, and lasting reputational damage. Over time, companies that act responsibly are better positioned to create value and outperform their peers. This chapter introduces 4 ethical frameworks that help managers reason through difficult business decisions. Utilitarianism asks which choice creates the greatest overall good for the greatest number of stakeholders. Deontology takes a different approach, focusing on universal duties and actions that are right or wrong regardless of the outcome. Virtue ethics shifts attention to character, asking how a person defined by integrity, honesty, and fairness would act. Finally, stakeholder theory emphasizes balance, considering employees, customers, communities, and shareholders rather than focusing on only one group. Ethical judgment can change dramatically across cultural contexts. A gift may express respect in one country, yet be interpreted as a bribe in another. Cultural awareness helps us understand those differences without giving up core principles. This is the balance between relativism and universalism. Practices may adapt, while values such as honesty and human dignity remain important reference points. Hofstede's cultural dimensions provide a useful lens, showing how individualism, power distance, and uncertainty avoidance can influence expectations, decisions, and ethical norms across societies. This chapter examines the legal landscape surrounding corruption and anti-bribery standards. Bribery is not only an ethical concern, it is one of the most serious legal risks in global business. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act prohibits U.S. companies from bribing foreign government officials, while the U.K. Bribery Act is among the world's strictest anti-corruption laws. The OECD Convention provides a multilateral framework ratified by 44 nations. The consequences are substantial. Violations can lead to hundreds of millions of dollars in fines, along with criminal prosecution for individuals. Corporate social responsibility is more than meeting legal requirements. It means committing to operate in ways that are economically viable, socially equitable, and environmentally sustainable. The key idea is to make CSR part of the core business strategy, rather than treating it as an afterthought. That commitment has 3 dimensions. Environmental responsibility includes reducing emissions, sourcing sustainably, and managing waste. Social responsibility focuses on fair labor, community investment, and inclusion. And governance requires transparent reporting, accountable boards, and ethical leadership throughout the organization. Supply chain ethics extends far beyond a company's own facilities. Ethical responsibility follows a product through every tier of sourcing and production, where hidden risks can include forced or child labor, unsafe conditions, environmental violations, inadequate wages, and conflict minerals that fund armed groups. Addressing these risks requires a systematic approach. Map suppliers, set clear standards, audit working conditions, and monitor and report findings. The goal is not simply to identify problems, but to create accountability throughout the supply chain, including among partners several steps removed from direct operations. Data privacy is now a core part of ethical business conduct, not simply a technical or legal concern. Companies are expected to collect, store, and use customer information responsibly, while regulations and public expectations continue to rise. 3 developments define this landscape: GDPR, introduced in 2018, established a global benchmark for consumer data rights. CCPA, in 2020, became the most comprehensive state privacy law in the United States, and emerging AI ethics frameworks are addressing fairness, bias, and transparency in algorithmic systems. This chapter focuses on building an ethical organizational culture, beginning with a simple principle. Culture is a foundation of ethical behavior. Policies and codes of conduct provide important guidance, but they do not determine what happens in everyday situations. Employees watch their leaders closely and take their strongest ethical cues from what leaders consistently do, not merely what they say. That connection has measurable impact. Organizations with strong ethical cultures experience 40% fewer misconduct incidents than organizations with weak cultures, according to the Ethics and Compliance Initiative. This slide highlights 3 real-world failures that show why ethical shortcuts are so costly. Volkswagen's 2015 emissions scandal used deceptive software to mask pollution, resulting in more than $33 billion in fines, recalls, and settlements, along with lasting damage to trust. Enron's accounting fraud destroyed the company, wiped out employee pensions, and prompted major regulatory reform. And Foxconn's labor abuses exposed weaknesses in global supply chains, pushing Apple and others to strengthen auditing practices. The common lesson is clear. Doing the right thing early costs far less than repairing preventable harm later. Ethical global business is not a constraint on success. It's a prerequisite for sustainable success. Apply ethical frameworks to cross-cultural dilemmas. Know the laws wherever you operate, and lead by example. Most importantly, think systemically, extending responsibility across your supply chain, data practices, and community impact.